was founded on the foundation of blood. And that was why when man missed it, when God wanted to get back man, he had to offer blood again. I know you'll be confused, but you understand where you get from. You are confused. Clap for me. I'm confused. Now, he said, the lamb that was slain from where? The foundation of the earth. So the earth was founded on blood. When man sinned, even to cover man, blood had to be offered. God could have used leaf. He said, and he killed that man, and the skin they used it to cover blood. And when he wanted to reconcile man, Jesus had to offer what? Blood. So upon every strong foundation that must be solid, blood must be speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, blood has a voice. And that was how when Cain killed Abel, God spoke from heaven. He said, Cain, where is your blood? For his blood crieth. His blood is crying. There are some of us here, blood is crying against us. Because there were sacrifices that were done against our family. Or there were covenants that our fathers entered by blood. Ladies and gentlemen, when blood is speaking against you, prayer cannot handle it. Yes, sir. Prayer cannot handle a blood battle.
I know, sir.
Oh God. Are you following me?
Yes,
sir. Prayer cannot handle a battle that blood is involved. When blood becomes involved, your prayer becomes an offense to God. The children of Israel were to go for battle. And when they were to go for battle, anytime that Israel wants to go for battle, they will ask God, should we go? And ladies and gentlemen, they came to the prophet and said, can we go for this battle? Will we win? Will we overcome? And the prophet went and prayed and came to Israel and said, go, you will win the battle and you will come back with victory. And Israel went on prophecy. Prophecy has capacity. So prophecy was backing Israel. So they went to the battle, and when they began to go, because prophecy was working for them, they began to kill the enemies. They began to slaughter the enemies. And the king looked and saw that Israel was killing people and coming. And the king understand that if they kill and they come and they capture me, my kingdom is gone. And the king looked back and saw his first son that was to become king after him, and he took his first son. He put him on the fence and shouted to the God of Israel and killed his son. And the Bible says, and there was great indignation against Israel. What does that mean? It means, and God hated Israel. It was the same God that told them to go and fight. But when God saw blood, it was against Israel. The Bible said, and they began to kill Israel and kill Israel. And Israel ran away. Israel had prophecy, but the enemies have blood. Are you following me this morning?
Yes, sir.
When blood is in place, ladies and gentlemen, battles becomes difficult.
Yes, sir.
When battle becomes too difficult that it looks like prophecy is not working, that it looks like prayer is not working, what it tells you is that blood is involved. A friend of God can turn to an enemy of God if blood is offered.
Yes, sir.
That is why have you not wondered why the enemies that you feel this one is enemy is going to shine? Why is it that I've been praying? They tie my womb, yet my womb could not lose. Because that one offered blood, you offered prayers. When you pray, angels collect your prayer. When blood is involved, God comes by himself. Why? Because in Leviticus, he said that life is in the blood. And that is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, I asked them a question when I went to preach in a Sabbath. I said to them, where does the blood go when a man dies? I know a little about medicine. The blood, where does it go? A man died. He didn't die by accident. He didn't cut himself. Yet, a few days later, there is no blood in his body. Where does the blood go? It has gone back to where it came from. Because a man is not defined by his flesh. A man is defined by his blood. And that is why when a man meets with a woman and their semen mixed together, the first thing that forms is blood. The first thing that forms is what? Not the head, not the leg. What forms is the blood. Because the man is a son to die. The blood. The man is defined by the blood. That is why if a woman gets pregnant and the child doesn't develop and he loses the child, what comes out is not flesh. What comes out is blood. Because it is blood that is formed. And that is why when the man still dies, the blood goes back to where it came from.
Yes, sir.
That is why the worst thing that can happen to a man is when blood is crying against the man. Prayers will fail. When the blood is crying against the man, fasting will fail. When blood is crying against the man, prophecy will fail. Because at that point, who is fighting is not angels. Who is fighting is blood. Because God doesn't send angels to collect blood. He moves by himself. And imagine when guns come by himself to fight a man. Which native doctor will help you? Which pastor will help you? The king took his son and offered him on the fence. And the Bible said that God hated Israel. God began to fight Israel by himself. Israel began to ask themselves what there was prophecy on our head. That is the reason why a lot of Christians have prophecy. Yet, because when you collected prophecy and pastor said you're going to be a millionaire this year, I said amen. Pastor said I'll be a millionaire, and he went to sleep. A witch heard it and took a sacrifice, went to the river, caught the ram, put the blood there. Blood began to cry. Because God is not a respecter of religion. He said God is not a respecter of person. He's a respecter of principles. Are you here this morning? Yes, there are many of us. The problem is because there are altars that are crying against us, but there is no altar that is speaking in our favor. How high you will go in life is a product of the altars that are speaking for you. Check every man that rises. Check every man that has speed. Check every man that is unstoppable. They are men that understand the principle of the altar. My father shared a testimony this morning. My child has gotten what? Paper. Abi? You have been praying for it for many years. Since you came, have you not remember how many times you have so seen here? Grace. You think she doesn't know what she's doing? Today she not happy for the testimony. Yes, but I didn't know other people that were praying for the thing not work. Talk to me now. Yes, I gave her during 40 days. Was it during 40 days? I gave her a prophecy. I said I saw a testimony coming very soon. Yes, during 40 days, right? Yes, and the thing has happened. Why? Because she received prophecy. She didn't fall down. Anytime she collects from, she'll come to the office. Sir, what will I do? What can I do? Why there is another person that is afraid and running from what to do? Are you following me this morning? When blood is working for you, see now. That's why every Christian, the best thing you can do for yourself is for the altar to continually have blood working for you. This morning I ran to church. I quickly dropped the generator and I drove off. I went to offer sacrifices. I drove to two men of God in Benin. Quickly, I sent a message, I'm around. He sent me in. Went in. What I said nothing. Today is Easter. I need prayers. There are principles for greatness. I rushed quickly, rushed to the first place, drop, rushed to the second place, dropped, and rushed back. And you think you can stop me? You will die.
Right on, sir.
People don't know why. I enter places with authority. I challenge with microphones, challenge powers. Because I know that there are sacrifices speaking behind you. A man that is going with the backing of sacrifices is not afraid. Are you for it?
Yes, sir.
A man that has the backings of sacrifice is not afraid. If God himself can offer blood, who are you? I've come to discover in church, those that are always angry at sacrifices, they are the poorest in churches. Those that are excited, they might start poor. Give them some time. Give them what? I don't know. Was it on Thursday I was preaching or what I was saying? I was talking about dead years ago. My father was a pastor, died in 2004. We were so poor that even poor people were praying for God to answer our prayers. 2017, we discovered the power of family deliverance and family liberation. We didn't have money. We could not feed. To feed was a problem. To clothe was a problem. So the time I wore one trouser for 6 months. Wash. Even when I started church then in a computer building, when I have 4 days program, I'll wear the first day, wash it that night, wear the next day. But guess what? One day we decided to do family liberation. We're to go to play, we talked to our pastor, and he said, of course, you know, when people are going to travel with you, will you tell them, God bless you? It's a generation of foolishness that want to do that. The prayers will not work. Let me make this statement, whether you believe or not, whether you like it or not. Free prayer does not work. I said it. That's why personally I don't take free prayers. I've been here several times in church. Some men of God that are in ministry before me, they'll drive past and they'll see my car and they'll come in. I just saw your car in the ride. I was driving somewhere. So, how are you? This is where church is? I said, yes. I said, you want to go? He said, yes. I said, no, please pray. They'll pray. While they are going, I go to my car. Everything called money, I pack everything, give to them. They're like, I didn't know what is no problem I did for. I said, no. I understand that what we activate the prayer you made is the sacrifice that I offer. I pack everything money. I think we were driving some month, was it last year? Opalawani, where we saw this person that has a paper. We saw, I started, he was trying to buy, was it a grand, no, it was a granite bottle, what is it called? Cashew. So it was trying, we were coming from here. As I started him, I was trying to buy. I packed. He was with me in the car. I packed, rushed, greeted him, ran back to the car. I withdrew money that was going to do something, almost 40,000 or 50,000. I was going driving to use the money. I packed the money. I gave it to him on the road there and knelt down. Because I understand what activates prayer is sacrifice. I wish to raise a church that understands the principle. Principle. That's the reason why certain doors are opening for me. I understand the secret. Secret of sacrifice. I've told you that before. I've never seen a man that became rich by saving money. Nobody becomes rich by saving money. People become rich by the blessings and the favor of God. And that is activated when sacrifices are made and heavens begin to work in your favor. Are you following me this morning?
I know, sir.
I'm closing in 5 minutes. But hear this. When sacrifices are in place, So my pastor told us, said we need to do family liberation. At that time, like I said, we could not feed. I don't know where my mother went to borrow money. 40,000 that time, 2007. Cement was less than, how much was cement that time? That is 500. No, I don't say that is 2007. No, I never reached
350, 400.
Okay, don't reach that then. Okay, let's assume 7 something. Eh? Okay, let's assume 750. Right? Bag of cement now is how much?
It's 4,000.
4,000.
4,000.
Okay. Now, if you do the math, you will discover that 40,000 of that time is close to 150,000 of now. We looked for the money. We carried it. We went straight to the village. We did the first time, came back, looked for another 40,000, went the second time. You think the money was everywhere? But there are certain things you will do to open certain doors. Folding your hand to say, in not day, in not day. That make people this a problem. Are you following me?
Right on.
What I will do tomorrow to be free, I prefer to do it now. Let me be free. Because as I'm prolonging my days of suffering. But when you activate spirits in your favor, when the altar begins to walk in your favor, you enter into territories and dominate. You enter. There's something I'm pursuing now. When I'm done, I'm going to tell us. Things are happening. The reason why it is happening is because there are altars. And when altars are raised, like I said, blood must continually be offered. Because when blood stops being offered, your enemies are still offering. And look at this. In the realm of the spirit, remember I told us that the altar is the place of spiritual transaction. Is that what I said? Spiritual exchange. And in the spirit, the highest bidder wins. If I have a car to sell, and Mr. A offers to give me 200,000 for the car, and Mr. B gives me 300,000 for the car, who will I sell it to? So when you have offers, you offer and you relax, and your enemies keep offering, they will have an advantage. And that's the reason why many of us have entered this year. There is nothing to show. For someone here under the sound of my voice, by the power of this altar, your testimony is coming from God. Altars, activate altars. Altars. You come. I don't know how people think. I don't know how people. We are trained in Christianity. But me, I was trained. Anytime I enter a church, any church, I make sure the altar collects sacrifice from me. Whether it's service or not, sacrifice must be. I've taught you here. Pastor is preaching, whether it's me, whether it's anybody, or anyone is on this altar, declaring. Because the moment the person is on the altar declaring, the spirit of the altar is backing the person. When he makes declaration, you don't shout, you don't just shout amen. You offer. Because I've taught you before, and let me quickly explain that again. Anytime that you offer money on the altar, God does not see the money. Because God does not use money. God is not in Nigeria. God is not an American. God does not know euro, dollar, pounds. It is human beings that knows that. It is human beings that give that paper value. But when you offer it, what God sees is blood. The reason why God sees blood is because for you to get the money, it is possible you worked. True of us. After you work 1 month salary, they give it to you. They are paying you because you. Now, while you were working, you were sweating. Is that true? And what made you to sweat? In science, we're told that a man begins to sweat when the blood begins to pump fast. And the faster your blood is moving, when your heart is pumping very fast and the blood is circulating very fast, you sweat more. So it means that your sweat, your blood produces your sweat. And it is the sweat that produces the money you were paid. So it means that your blood or the money you offer is directly proportional to the sweat, which is inversely proportional to the blood. Don't ask me to explain what inversely means. I study statistics, so that is our language. Now, you are confused, right? Clap for me, I'm confused. So that's why I go to school. So the money you offer is equivalent to blood. So when God sees you, what you offer, I'm going to do a teaching very soon, and I'm going to tell us why John the Baptist was slaughtered like a chicken, and I will tell us why Joshua, who was a sinner, even with his sin, entered. Rise on your feet.